Hello everyone, my name is Rachael Onwibo. I am a sophomore here at the University of Toledo, majoring in pre-nursing. I am also an international student from Nigeria, so I come from a very long way off. And with this vlog, I am going to be sharing my experience with distance or online learning due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, before the pandemic, I had never really had any experience with having my classes online. Most of my classes were in person, which is I could go to class and actually meet face to face with my professors. Now, due to the pandemic, everything was moved online. The bunch of my classes were actually moved online too, with just one or two being in-person classes. Now, that experience really had to change my method of studying, the way I looked at my classes, my approach to literally everything having to do with college life. Now, with most of my classes being online, I have to be super careful to always be on schedule. So I have to set like different alarms. My first alarm would be to wake me up in the morning. Now, while I take most of my classes from home, I make it a point to separate my home life from my educational life. I do most of my work in my room. I wake up in the mornings, then I get up from my bed, I dress up, and then I go to my desk to study because I do not want to study on my bed, and I never really concentrate when I'm on my bed because I'm thinking about going back to sleep. Normally, I would wake up and then walk all the way to my desk where I can get work done. I log into my classes, I check on my schedule for the day, what I have to turn in, what classes I have to go for, and make sure I am on time to all of them. One extra tip I would have for people studying online is to keep your workspace arranged. I like order. I found that when my workspace is disarranged, I get very confused and I get kind of anxious too. And this little addition helps me a lot. These are affirmations. So when I wake up in the morning, I walk up to my wall and then I just do some affirmations just to get myself ready for the day. And it really puts me in a good mood. I also have one other tip, which is always having an up-to-date schedule. I use Google Calendar to give myself like timers and alarms, and I always put everything on my schedule, especially at the start of the semester. So at the start of the semester, I look at all my classes, when their assignments are due, I go through the syllabus, and then I just update my calendar. And whenever like an upcoming assignment is almost near, I would get a notification for that, and I can easily like check it off my checklist. It's so satisfying when you have a list and you can just check things off. If you do not want a digital schedule, you can always get the what they call it, the boards, where you can actually input dates and put in whatever you want, and after the day is done, you can clear your schedule by just wiping the board down. Now, I have to give it up for the professors here at UT because they have gotten really creative in making sure that students stay up to date with their classes. First of all, they've been very accommodating with their deadlines because they know everyone is kind of struggling and trying to figure things out due to the pandemic and how new online learning is. I've also had professors try to encourage students with giving out extra credits with Kahoots. We would also play games in class, like instead of the whole like just lecturing, we would like have breakout rooms where we can actually get to discuss with our peers, or turning points for turning assignments for points, those kind of things. And they kept the classes really motivated, and it made you feel kind of hands-on. For my labs, I've had labs where we've had to like look at simulations. So it was actually like you were the one cutting through the ship's heart, or you were the one doing the dissection or whatever it was we were supposed to do. So that was really interesting and that was very fun too. The most challenging part of the pandemic and how it affected my college experience would be limiting my day-to-day interactions with people. So due to distance learning, obviously we've had classes online, and student population on campus have been greatly reduced. So being the introvert that I am, I have lost touch with a lot of people. I found myself like being alone most of the times and kind of out of touch. I don't talk to anyone, no one talks to me, and that makes it very hard because sometimes you get kind of lonely, or you feel alone and you feel like you're the only one going through the whole pandemic and no one is kind of suffering the way you do. So that was a huge problem for me. I had to physically force myself to get involved on campus instead of just staying in my room all the time. I know that college is all about your academics, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge that you have a personal life, you have a life outside of campus, and it's also good to kind of build interactions with people, your students, your professors, because those interactions are kind of what gives you the whole college experience. Now, I will advise people to not be like me. Definitely do not isolate yourself. We have InfoNet, where you can also see like the list of organizations that are registered at the University of Toledo, and if anyone speaks out to you, you can join, reach out to whoever the members are, make friends, attend online or socially distanced events too, if you have the time and the option for that, instead of staying in your room all the time and letting the world pass you by. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope as you go on your college experience, you know you are not alone with battling like your problems with the pandemic. Make sure to use the resources around you, especially those offered by the university, and I hope you have a great semester. Go Rockets!